A kidnapping hoax, the story of Sherri Papini. 34-year-old Sherri went missing on November 2nd, 2016, after going for a jog down the road from her house in Redding, California. It was when her husband Keith got off work that he realized his wife wasn't home. So Keith used an app called Find My iPhone, which led him to an intersection about a mile from their home. He found her phone, but she wasn't with it. This concerned him, because his wife just wouldn't abandon her phone and earbuds like that. They called police, filed a missing persons report. Now, even though Keith had an alibi, he was at work. Police still hadn't ruled him out as a suspect. He was even given a lie detector test, in which he did pass. But we all know it's possible to pass that test and still be guilty. So police were keeping all doors open. They examined cell phone records, bank accounts, they talked to her friends, her family. Nobody had seen her. So it was determined she must have been kidnapped while out jogging. Missing person flyers went up. Sherri's case immediately went national, and eventually worldwide. But something very fortunate and strange happened. On November 24th, 2016, 22 days after she was kidnapped, Sherri Papini magically reappeared, claiming to have been freed by her captors, and confirming to police that she had been abducted. She was brought to the hospital to be examined. Her body was covered in bruises. Her nose was broken. She had even been branded. Her husband was absolutely mortified. Who could do such a horrible thing to his wife? So police asked Sherri what happened that morning. Sherri claimed that while out jogging, she was kidnapped by two Latino women in a dark SUV. But she didn't know where they took her because they covered her face. But then police began to notice that some things in her story just didn't make sense. Like she said her face was covered the entire time. Yet she was able to describe the suspects in pretty good detail. She also described the room she stayed in detail. Sherri was also found with both male and female DNA on her clothing. That DNA did not match her husband. And this case would take years to figure out. But finally, police matched that male DNA to Sherri's ex-boyfriend, James. And once they contacted James, the story began to unravel. James said that Sherri called him and asked him to come pick her up that morning, leaving her kids at daycare knowing her husband was going to be working late. She asked him to brand her, help break her nose with a hockey stick, and basically make it look like a real kidnapping. Yes, Sherri had done this all for attention. But here's where Sherri messed up. She was interviewed by an FBI agent who told her it was illegal to lie to the FBI. But Sherri lied and stuck by her story anyways, even as the evidence piled up against her. She had also collected over $30,000 from the California Victims Unit, which is why she was arrested for giving a false statement and for mail fraud. Sherri was absolutely narcissistic during her police interrogation. She tried to throw her husband and her ex-boyfriend James under the bus. She knew her husband was going to be the first suspect police looked at. And when the FBI tried to get her to clear James's name, she refused. Sherri was looking out for herself only. So Keith, her husband, sat with her during her interrogation, where he found out she'd been having many emotional affairs throughout their marriage, and even lying, telling their family and friends that Keith had abused her when he hadn't. Had police found two Latino women matching that description, Sherri would have let them go down for her crime. And I think Sherri copied this story of kidnapping from a classmate who actually did go missing. 16-year-old Tara Smith went missing over 20 years ago, on the same exact road that Sherri faked her abduction. Sherri knew Tara and went to school with the missing girl. Sherri didn't care who got her as long as it wasn't her. Part 2, her police interrogation.